Hi guys! Time for my first review here in my library of a book that I've read while I've been here in Massachusetts. If at some point during this video you hear screaming, no one is dying. I have next door neighbors whose children are very excited about playing, and they're doing that and screaming a lot. So anyways, that's what it's doing, and honestly it's a pretty good soundtrack for this review because I am here to talk to you today about Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. Kendare Blake, if you don't know, is the woman who wrote like Anna Dressed in Blood and the Anti-Goddess series, and I own both books that I've mentioned. I never finished the Anti-Goddess series, but I mean, Anna Dressed in Blood was a huge deal for a really long time, and I think that she always has really good ideas. So when I read the idea behind Three Dark Crowns, I immediately said, I have to read this. If you haven't heard of this book, it's a YA fantasy. So Three Dark Crowns takes place on an island, and the island is ruled by a queen. The queen gives birth once in her life to a set of triplets. These triplets each are a poisoner powered, magic kind of thing. So she can have any kind of poison given to her and she'll survive it. There's a naturalist who, like other naturalists on the island, has a familiar, and they're very powerful because they can control this animal. And then there's the elemental. And so this queen can control the elements as well as the other elementals on the island. So the island is split into these three factions, and each one of them has a queen. At the age of 6, these triplets are separated and they grow up being groomed to kill each other, because while there are 3 queens, only the strongest can be the ruling queen. And so after their 16th birthday, they start trying to have a year to kill each other basically and figure out which one of them is going to be queen. And then that queen rules, gives birth to triplets, and then that queen retires. So the only way to get a nice happy ending and not be killed by your siblings is to kill your siblings, which I thought was a crazy idea. And I read it and I thought, oh my gosh, this is the kind of dark YA that I'm really into right now. I thought that the book had so much potential, and it was crazy how many different places this book could have gone. And then it went none of them. I was reading this book while waiting for Michaela at her job in Barnes & Noble, where we both now work, but her shifts are generally longer than mine. So I was reading this book while I was waiting for her to get off her shift. And every time Michaela would come over and be like, hey, how you doing? My face would be just another level of, what? Because I just couldn't believe that this book just kept getting crazier, and every single chapter I felt like undermined the cool place that I thought it could go next. Instead it just went, I guess we'll do this cliche and nonsensical thing. The book is generally told in revolving POV from each of the 3 queens. So there's Catherine the poisoner, Arsinoe the naturalist, and Mirabella the elemental. Mirabella is widely considered the most powerful because Catherine and Arsinoe have no powers whatsoever. Like, Catherine can't actually drink poisons, and Arsinoe can't actually she doesn't have a familiar, so she has no powers whatsoever. And so when I started reading the book, I was like, alright, so I guess Mirabella's the powerful one and she's gonna be the queen. What's exactly the tension here? And then really random love interests get introduced and make no sense. And it's such a haphazard plot. And I think that the book really suffered from trying to do all 3 queen stories at once. I don't know how feasible this is, but I really wish that the book had taken the time to explore one queen's journey to the Beltane Festival, where they start trying to kill each other, and then the other, and then the other. Because each different queen had such an interesting storyline that could be followed, but in the interest of time and trying to weave all 3 of them together, it just got so messed up, and things that could have been cool weren't explored, and weird decisions were made, and the timeline felt all wonky, and I was just sad because I actually really liked the cast of characters. I liked the world, I liked the thought process behind the book and where it started, like the blurb just sounded so cool. And it just went wrong. And every time like a new decision was made and I was like, that's really dumb and weird, a couple chapters later, a new weird and dumb decision would be made. And I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And like the crazy sibling murder thing was undermined, and it just left me feeling sad for the most part. And I mean, I got to the end, I couldn't stop reading it. Like, it wasn't a book that was so bad I wanted to DNF it. I think because every single chapter was a new level of what? So I kept reading it, and I read it all the way through to the end. And I mean, part of me does want to read the second book because I'm just so confused and I don't understand. Like, even just towards the end, like this cliche thing that kind of happens, and I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. So like, it's definitely not a book that I would buy, for sure, just because like I don't understand, and I would have felt really bad if I had spent my money on that hardcover. But if it's something that you're curious about and are just like, God, this book is so bad, and want to read a train wreck, then like get it from your library. Because like Kendare Blake is an amazing writer, and she can build amazing characters, and she can build an amazing world. But this book just wasn't prepared to handle all of the ideas that she had, and the way that she tried to put it together really made the book suffer, in my opinion. So I don't know. I know that's like all over the place, but I was just so sad. So sad. And I ended up giving the book 2 stars on Goodreads. Definitely couldn't give it 3, but also definitely couldn't give it 1. So 2 stars it is. Not great. Not what I was expecting at all from Kendare Blake. And just so angry about the wasted potential there, because it had such potential and then it didn't. So yeah, those are my feelings on Kendare Blake's newest book, 3 Dark Crowns. And I'll be back next week with hopefully a more positive review. Thanks guys. Bye.